In 1983, when Gary McKinnon was just 17 years old, he went to his local cinema in North London to see a new movie called War Games. In the movie, a computer genius hacks into a Pentagon network. The movie had a big impression on Gary, and it got him thinking, maybe he could be a hacker too. Coupled with his interest in science fiction and mysterious flying aircrafts, his passion for hacking was only ever going to lead him in one direction. Between February 2001 and March 2002, Gary McKinnon was able to hack into US computer networks, where he allegedly uncovered a whole host of information that would land him in deep water, facing possible extradition to the United States. McKinnon claimed he'd managed to gain access to NASA websites, and in an interview with Rich Planet TV, claimed to have found information relating to advanced flying aircrafts. He claimed to have seen an Excel sheet which had the ranks and names of unknown people, as well as another sheet which had tabs for material transfers between ships. He tried to do some research on the names of the ships, around 8 to 10 in total, but was unable to find any more information relating to any of them. At the end of February 2022, he went on Reddit and did an Ask Me Anything. This is where members of Reddit can reach out and ask questions. He said the following: "Hi, I'm Gary McKinnon. I'll make this brief, but there are some things I feel it's important to point out, so you know where I'm coming from. Apologies for not doing a live video response. I have a couple of commercial projects on the go that prohibit me from doing audio-video in relation to my story, and thanks to Reddit for inviting me to do this AMA. I was arrested in March 2002 for hacking into various government and military networks in America, looking for evidence of mysterious flying aircrafts and free energy. It wasn't a clever hack, no fragmented packets to bypass firewalls of any kind or the glossy stuff. I had a specific intention, and like any good system administrator, which I was at the time, I wanted a simple process that would catch basic weaknesses, sometimes network-wide, with a simple script and a little creativity. It was cracking more than hacking. Like any sysadmin knows, the laziest solution is often the best. In my effort to find solid proof that the government and military knew about these crafts, I followed information found in a book by the Disclosure Project run by Stephen Greer. In the book, Donna Hare, who was a NASA-launched photographic specialist, said that in Building 8 of Johnson Space Center there was a lab set aside for airbrushing out mysterious flying aircrafts, and this was from high-resolution satellite imagery. The tool I wrote scanned for local administrator accounts on Windows PCs. It was written in Perl, and scanned a Class B in 8 minutes. The low latency due to me running the scan on an already compromised machine on the same or another government military network. I found Building 8 by reading the comment section of the PC via the command console. These fields are used for auditing, and luckily NASA filled them all in, so I knew which PCs were in Building 8. There weren't many machines in Building 8, but one of the first I looked at had folders called Raw and Processed, or Raw and Cleaned or Filtered. The images averaged around 250 megabytes, and would have taken a long time at 5 minutes per megabyte on a 56K modem, so having remote control of the PC via a program called Remotely Anywhere, I decided to view it live on the desktop, which was risky since they work odd hours at NASA. The image was coming down very slowly via the Java-based Remotely Anywhere program, so I cut the color to 4-bit, 16 colors and shades, and the lowest resolution, which was 640 by 480 I think. It may have even been 320 by 240. The image slowly filled the screen and all I could see was blackness, superimposed upon which was a blue-white planet, and superimposed on that was a tubular form that was metallic white, and had domes around its central circumference, and at its ends. This thing had no rivets or seams and looked futuristic, though of course with the low resolution and number of shades in the image, detail was lacking. This was my eureka moment. Donna Hare's lab was still in existence. I was waiting for this image to come down, and was planning on the fastest way to get all of the other images to me. And right when I was making my plans, I saw the mouse cursor move to the bottom right of the screen. Right-click the network icon and choose Disconnect. I'd been caught in Disconnected, missing my chance to grab even a single image. I never did any intentional damage or accidental. As far as I know, I'm not a vandal. But I did leave stupid messages about disrupting their sense of security. My family and I then fought my possible extradition to America for 10 years, finally winning the case in 2012. I know this is an old story, and not too widely publicised in America at the time, so I apologise that there's nothing new, though hopefully interesting questions will result in interesting answers. Let me tell you what happened to me in 2006, the only odd Men in Black possibly kind of thing that happened to me, apart from being followed by the same van for 2 hours one time across England. I lived in a bedsit at the time, being unemployed due to my ongoing case, which is one room in a shared house. I was on the first floor, one story up if you're American. My lady and I had gone to my bed on my fold-out sofa. I think we fell asleep around midnight. I woke up out of a really deep sleep, so I'm thinking it must have been around 2 or 3 AM. I was woken up by a really sharp pain in my left heel, so sharp that I jolted awake and reached down to my foot to see what it was, whereupon I was forced to sleep again. It was like going under general anaesthetic, uncomfortable and unwilling, so I went from painful shock to instant sleep. In the morning, the first thing I thought was the pain in my heel. I looked at my foot and it turned out I'd gone to bed with my sock on, and there were 2 holes in the sock on my heel. I removed the sock and found 2 perfectly round holes in my heel, each around 5mm in diameter, and one with a perfectly circular flap of skin still hanging from it, like someone had done me with a miniature paper hole punch. I can't explain to this day and can only assume it's a chimp. I've had trifilmeters on it. I've had a super sensitive magnetometer that showed nothing, but 2 lumps did grow on the heel in the months following the event, and they have now moved around to the inside of the foot. The Catholic Church has long fascinated people. Its rich history is well documented, but there's other aspects of the Church that aren't talked about, some being ancient text scriptures in the Vatican's Apostolic archive. With very little being known about it, this 53-mile or 85-kilometer archive is full of tens of thousands of books, many of which are said to detail ancient events. The Bible is composed of lots of different books. It's thought of as a holy gospel truth by millions across the globe, written by Moses and others around 1000 BC. It tells of Jesus' miracles, from the well-known tale of the Good Samaritan, to when he fed the thousands with only 5 loaves and 2 fish. In fact, the Bible is the most printed book in the world, with around 5 billion copies produced. However, the original version actually contained more books than present in modern versions. Naturally, people found this a little bit strange. The 14 scriptures are known, but they are still yet to be printed in the modern day versions, leaving many to wonder, what are the churches hiding? Once people found this out, they started to look deeper into some of these old tales and books. The ones that interest people the most revolves around stories of mysterious entities. The belief in demonic possession is that an entity, demon or spirit is able to control someone's actions against their will. Those who claim to be possessed often maintain that symptoms of possession include memory loss, the inability to control oneself, and voices in one's mind. The demonic entity known as Valak has been featured in various movies, but the entity is actually based on old 17th century documents. Here it reveals that Valak has the ability to control things, mainly serpents, and can make these creatures do whatever it wants. Although it doesn't take on the form of a nun, it's heavily detailed in the book The Lesser Key of Solomon, which has been described by historians as being a book that contains a mix of spells, conjurations, natural secrets, and ancient wisdom. There's many entities that are similar to this that have been featured in various different books, many of which have been lost to history or have been hidden away. Some have suggested that there's many books that are hiding inside the Vatican, and that it's very unlikely that they'll ever see the light of day. The exorcism industry has become popular in Britain, Italy, and Ireland. Religious experts, including both Vatican and Anglican priests, agree that demonic possession seems to be a pressing issue in today's society. Scientific and non-religious experts, however, warn of the dangers of spiritual abuse. An exorcist from Sicily, Father Pallia, states that the Church is aware of the controversy surrounding the belief in exorcisms, but that the exorcism training is essential because a self-taught exorcist certainly makes errors. Meanwhile, Father Collins in Ireland has said that the Irish people seek his guidance and help in almost everyday dealings with what they describe to be demonic influences. It's only in recent years that the demand has risen exponentially. What I'm finding out is people in their own minds believe rightly or wrongly that they're afflicted by an evil spirit. Father Collins shared his mixed views on the matter, however. I think in many cases they wrongly think it, but when they turn to the Church doesn't know what to do with them. Despite his own dedication to the Catholic faith, he disagrees with the concept of so many sudden cases being real. It's mentioned in several biblical episodes of the New Testament that Jesus drove out demons from people infested with evil. Catholic priests believe there are several kinds of possession. Obsession includes sudden irrationality, obsessive thoughts, and taking their own lives. Typically, these manifest into one's dreams, slowly tormenting them. Oppression is when the victim loses consciousness, or is forced by the entity to act against their morals or will, controlling their body or sending the victim's life spiraling into misfortune. Possession as we know it is when Satan or another demon takes full control of a person's body and uses it as a vessel without their consent. This is typically seen in Catholicism to be in part the fault of the victim, as they must have done something which allowed Satan's influence into their lives. Infestation refers to demons inhabiting objects, things, animals, or even houses. This is what occurred in the house which the movie The Conjuring was based off. Subjection, however, is when a person gives in to the possession of their own free will, consenting to having their body to be used as an unholy vessel. Other symptoms of possession are superhuman strength, the ability to speak in tongue of foreign languages, knowledge of obscure information the victim should not know, blasphemy, wrath, and excessive profanity, as well as a painful aversion to holy names, symbols, and relics. Catholic doctrine states that demonic possession can occur as a result of a mental disorder, but the cases of mental sickness shouldn't be mistaken for unholy influence. Officially, Catholic exorcisms may only occur under the strict authority of a bishop, and should adhere to very specific rules. Unfortunately, such rules are hardly followed in reality, as many people turn to non-official exorcists, instead of struggling to attain the Vatican's permission. So what do you make of these books and mysterious entities? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.